Welcome back to a 55 Chevy video here on ShopDog-Garage. This is the one we're going to label absolutely bloody terrifying. So, I don't know if we actually pointed it out in the last video or not. In fact, I can see it. I doubt you guys can. Unfortunately, the crossover on the intake, the gaskets didn't seal, and it weeps. And we don't want it to do that. So that means the blower's got to come off and that manifold's got to come off. So we've been debating it for a while, and we've decided that there is no safe way to do this with the hood on. So Harlan and I are going to pull the hood, which is terrifying. So we're going to get that off, get the bug scoop off. Let's see. Actually, let's walk through what's got to come out. Battery's going to have to come out. Battery tray's going to have to come out. Coil's going to have to come out. And I know you're saying to yourself, well, why does the battery tray have to come out? Well, because we're only going to have so much room, but we'll see. I have a suspicion. Fuel lines will have to come off. Coolant system's going to have to be drained. This belt, this thing that we were afraid of, that's going to have to be dealt with. I think all we have to do for that is loosen and slide the idler and just kind of wiggle the belts out of our way. Let's see, obviously some wiring, some of the fancy things I did to hide some connectors is going to have to get undone. Feel kind of terrible about that, but what do you do? Some hoses are going to have to come off. The throttle will have to come off. And then we'll decide whether we want to try to pull the throttle bodies and the intake as one piece or break it down. We'll decide that as we get closer. But the intake's still coming off without the manifold. So we'll wind up pulling these guys and work our way down. There's not a lot of options here. We can't tolerate that leak. So we're gonna get started. It's nice and warm in here now, and we've got a spot for the hood to go. We're getting ready to set the blankie on, and we'll be right back. Okay, blower's off. Spooky stuff's getting ready to happen. Woo, this is always terrifying. Since I have no idea how long it's going to be before this goes back together, you guys are going to go on a journey with me documenting a few things. There we go. I just want to remember how I routed stuff, because some of this is going to have to get undone. It's a real bummer having to pull that tray, but we have a coolant hose there. Yeah, and then you can see the way we ran the fuel system, so that's going to have to come up. PCV, we got to remember that had a clamp. Going to go through in a minute, start cutting some zip ties. Yeah, the ignition's going to be fun, but honestly, the distributor, or the blower, will be out of the way before I deal with the distributor. So, that'll make it ever so slightly easier. Retiming this is not going to be fun at all. Anyone who's been watching my channel for a while knows that I really like this little tool. This Mighty Vac does a great job. It can create a mess, it can cause some trouble, but boy, when everything works out, sure is nice. And remember, it's aluminum, so you loosen all the bolts little at a time, so you don't warp anything. Also, I haven't crawled under there to do the wire for the O2 sensor yet. So for now, the front throttle body is sitting on the master. It's wrapped, it's protected. It's not my favorite, but might actually just work fine. Getting ready to pull this rear throttle body though. It doesn't take long for that to start to look crazy. Oh, blower's still in there. That's good. And looking at something I was hoping to never ever have to do, I gotta figure out what size that is. I think it's 3/4 inch, and figure out how to get in there. So that should be fun. Now we're getting closer to taking that off. It was 15/16 for that, not 3/4. And there isn't enough room to actually pull that, so that's another thing you get to fight. Putting it back together is going to be loads of fun. Alright, Harlan's going to get the lift. We'll pop this door up and get that cleaned up. And then we'll take a look and see just how much work it's going to be to get all that out of there. Not looking forward to the distributor. And don't forget, we still got a water line back there. There's a bunch going on, but it's going to be easier to see and get at without this thing in the way. Yeah, I think he just went in to get the door, so we're all set up. Yeah, we'll get that hooked up and get her pulled. Okay, so we needed a few jacks to clear some control arms. That's how we're picking her up. Okay, blower is on a buggy. And we're that far now. And now we'll probably stuff some towels in here and start working back there. You can see there's still a long way to go. PCV valve, that coolant, some wiring. But the scary big thing, of course, is we gotta mark and pull the dizzy. And this is another stretch where mostly I'm taking notes for myself in the future. So on my list now is obviously pulling this hose. Let's see here. Yeah, that's that coolant hose. Here's PCV. That should come right up, and it did. Okay, I don't want to lose our CAN bus, so let's get that out of the way. And then we've got some ignition stuff here, and unfortunately we're gonna have to be able to get at the dizzy and mark that really well. Luckily we have digital control of the timing, so if we're a degree off, I can fudge that. But if we're too much off, getting in here to tune that's going to be really fun. So, you know, we may try to turn the motor a little. I don't know how on earth we could. So, no, we're at whatever timing we're at. Okay, so here's where we're at. We did decide that there was no way to do this without pulling the wires. And then because of some wiring conveniences, we actually start number 1 over here. So it goes 1, 8, 4, 3. So it just so happens that we're marked at number 8 firing. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. So that should be able, remember, I can only put this about every 12.5 degrees. So that should put us pretty close. And as long as we mark the body and this and the body are pointed at each other, that's going to be within a degree. So I think we're good as long as we don't change intakes. And one more note for myself, that vacuum line ran under the dizzy like that, and it doesn't just pull through, so it had to be planned that way. So that's important to note. So getting ready to loosen the distributor. Not happy about that. All right, we've just unsequenced and untorqued all those bolts. Getting ready to pry up the RTV on the China wall. And I know that's going to be fun, so we might as well get to it. And with that, we're in. That was less than ideal. Didn't want to have to do this at all. Getting this off is going to be fun. Getting that one off is going to be real fun. Let's not break that oil pressure sensor. And it's just a real bummer. What? Nothing you can do. It leaked. And the gasket was pretty well sealed here. I absolutely dumbfounded that it leaked like it did. Let's look on here. See if we see any evidence as to what was going on. I made that sound simple. Well, yeah, you can see I sort of tore the gasket a little. God, it looks like it was sealed. Yet I know for a fact it leaked. Oh, there's no sealant here. It's here, but there was none here. Although in theory you shouldn't have to do that. Yeah, this stuff's actually coming off a lot easier than I expected it to. Not so much in the oil, but where the coolant was, it is. So, maybe that RTV did not like coolant. It is what it is. Okay, and with that pulled, so this came off the head pretty easy. You can see it was glued to the head decent. Note, there is nothing here. And there was nothing here. And it definitely leaked right there. So, well, if you guys remember, we did this all again on the dyno, so it is what it is. Alright, we'll let the tall guy do this. So this will be Harlan's homework, getting that off. And one of the things we're wondering, because we've had a lot more cooling system leaks in the last few years than, honestly, my entire life. I'm starting to wonder if something's changed in coolants, or if there's different green coolants. Because we've been just using generic green stuff, and, you know, honestly, it worked forever. But, yeah, maybe something's changed, and we got to be a little more careful. So, anyway, that was a long night. Hood's off, injection's off, the intake's off, the blower's off. This has been quite a bit. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And just remember, ShopRex always says safety first.